Hey, Poppulse Secrets fans. We've got a heart-wrenching story for you today. Let's jump in and tell us, what city are you watching from? The rain hammered against the windows of the penthouse like 1,000 tiny fists, each drop echoing the heaviness in Emma's chest. She stood in the marble-floored living room, her hand instinctively resting on her barely visible baby bump, hidden beneath her oversized cardigan. The crystal chandeliers above cast a cold, clinical light that made everything feel distant and unreal. Across from her stood her husband, Marcus, tall, broad-shouldered, with sharp jawline that could cut glass and eyes as cold as winter steel. He wore a tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, and his expression was carved from ice. "Marcus, please," Emma's voice trembled. "Just let me explain." "Explain what, Emma?" His words were clipped, emotionless. "That you've been lying to me? That you trapped me into this marriage?" Her heart shattered into a million pieces. "Trapped you? Marcus, I love you. We're having a baby. Our baby." He let out a bitter laugh that made her flinch. "My mother was right about you from the beginning. A nobody from nowhere, worming her way into our family for money." Emma's worn-out ballet flats, the only shoes that still fit her swelling feet, seemed to mock her against the pristine marble. She'd given up her small apartment, her job at the bookstore, her independence, all for love. Or what she thought was love. "I never wanted your money," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I just wanted you." Marcus turned his back to her, staring out at the city lights below. "My mother showed me the prenup clause you violated. The one about pre-existing conditions. You knew you couldn't have children naturally, and you hid it from me." "That's not true." Enough." He spun around, his face twisted with something she'd never seen before, disgust. "Security will escort you out. You have 30 minutes to pack a bag. Everything else stays here. It all belongs to the Richardson family anyway." Emma's legs nearly gave out. "Marcus, I'm pregnant. Where am I supposed to go?" His steel-gray eyes flickered for just a moment. Was that guilt? Before the coldness returned. "That's not my concern anymore. Maybe you should have thought about that before you deceived me." 28 minutes later, Emma stood on the rain-soaked street, a single duffel bag at her feet, watching the doorman close the golden doors of the building that had been her home for the past year. The rain mixed with her tears, and she wrapped her arms around her stomach. "It's okay, baby," she whispered. "We'll be okay. I promise." But as she walked away, her thin jacket offering no protection against the storm, she had no idea how she'd keep that promise. 3 months later, Emma stood behind the counter of Rosie's Diner, a small 24-hour establishment on the outskirts of the city. Her baby bump was now unmistakable beneath her uniform, and her feet ached from the double shifts she'd been pulling. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting everything in a harsh, unforgiving glow. "Table 7 needs a refill, honey," Rosie, the owner, called out. She was a woman in her 60s with kind eyes and hands weathered by decades of hard work. Emma grabbed the coffee pot and made her way to the booth where a woman in a designer suit sat, typing furiously on her laptop. "More coffee?" Emma asked, her voice tired. The woman looked up, and her eyes immediately went to Emma's belly, then to her face. There was something sharp and assessing in her gaze. "You look exhausted. When's your due date?" 3 more months, Emma replied, pouring the coffee. "And you're working here alone? No support?" Emma's hand trembled slightly. "I do what I have to do." The woman studied her for a long moment. "What's your name?" "Emma." "Emma, I'm Victoria Chin. I run a tech startup downtown." She pulled out a business card. "We need someone to handle customer relations and data analysis. The pay is decent, and you can work from home after the baby comes. Interested?" Emma stared at the card like it was a lifeline thrown to a drowning person. I don't have a degree. I never finished college. I don't care about degrees. I care about grit. And I can see you've got plenty of that." Victoria's eyes softened. "I was once a single mother working 3 jobs. Someone gave me a chance. Now I'm passing it forward." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. Thank you so much." That business card changed everything. 2 years later, Emma stood in front of floor-to-ceiling windows in her own corner office, overlooking the city that had once chewed her up and spit her out. Her daughter, Lily, played with blocks in the corner, her dark curls bouncing as she stacked them higher and higher. "Mama, look." Lily's voice was pure sunshine. "I see, baby. That's so tall." Emma's reflection in the glass showed a transformed woman. Her hair was styled in a sleek bob, her tailored emerald suit hugged her frame perfectly, and diamond studs, ones she bought herself, glittered in her ears. But more than the external changes, it was her eyes that told the story. They held confidence, strength, and determination forged in the fires of abandonment. Victoria had been true to her word. Emma had started in customer relations, but her natural analytical mind and innovative ideas quickly caught attention. Within a year, she developed an algorithm that revolutionized their data processing, saving the company millions. Victoria had promoted her to VP, and together they'd expanded the company into a tech empire. But Emma hadn't stopped there. She'd taken her savings and invested in startups run by single mothers, women who'd been counted out, pushed aside. She'd built a portfolio worth millions, earned through her own sweat and tears and sleepless nights. Her phone buzzed. It was Victoria. "Richardson Tech wants to partner with us. Meeting at the Grand Meridian tomorrow at 10. You'll lead the negotiations." Emma's heart stopped. Richardson Tech, Marcus's family company. That night, she stood in front of her mirror, Lily already asleep in the next room. She thought about that rainy night 2 years ago, how broken she'd felt. How he'd looked at her like she was nothing. "Tomorrow," she whispered to her reflection, "he sees who I really am." The Grand Meridian's conference room was all glass and chrome, with a view of the city that cost more per square foot than most people's homes. Emma arrived 15 minutes early, her black power suit making her feel like armor, her red-bottomed heels clicking with purpose against the marble floor. She was reviewing her notes when the door opened. And there he was. Marcus Richardson hadn't changed much. Same sharp jawline, same commanding presence. But there were new lines around his eyes, a weariness that hadn't been there before. He was flanked by 2 executives and his assistant. Their eyes met, and she watched the color drain from his face. "Emma?" His voice came out strangled. She stood, extending her hand with a professional smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Mr. Richardson, thank you for considering this partnership. Shall we begin?" He stared at her hand like it might bite him, then slowly shook it. His palm was warm, familiar, and she pulled away quickly, feeling that old wound throb. I didn't know you'd be leading this meeting," he managed. "Life is full of surprises, isn't it?" She gestured to the chairs. "Please sit." For the next hour, Emma commanded that room like a queen on her throne. She presented their technology, outlined the terms, and negotiated with a steel spine and sharp mind that left Marcus's team scrambling to keep up. Every time Marcus tried to speak, his voice seemed to fail him, his eyes never leaving her face. Finally, his CFO spoke up. "Ms. Hart, these terms are quite aggressive. We'll need time to review." "Of course," Emma interrupted smoothly. "You have 48 hours. After that, we move on to other interested parties. We have 3 offers on the table, gentlemen. You're not our only option." She gathered her materials, preparing to leave, when Marcus finally found his voice. "Emma, can we talk? Privately?" She turned, her expression unreadable. "Our attorneys can handle the details, Mr. Richardson. Please." And there it was, that crack in his armor. 5 minutes. Against her better judgment, she nodded. The room cleared, leaving them alone with the city sprawling beneath them. "You look." He started, then stopped. "I can't believe it's you." "Believe it," she said coolly. "Now, what did you want to discuss?" "Emma, He ran his hand through his hair, a gesture she remembered from their marriage. "Where have you been? What happened to you?" "I tried to find you." "You tried to find me?" Her laugh was bitter. "You threw me out in the rain, Marcus. While I was pregnant with your child." His face went white. "The baby. Is there? That's none of your business." "Emma, please. I was wrong. So wrong. My mother, she lied about the prenup clause. There was no clause. She fabricated everything because she didn't want me married to someone who wasn't from our social circle. I found out a week after you left. I've been searching for you ever since. Emma felt her carefully constructed walls shake. A week? It took you a week to figure out you destroyed your pregnant wife's life over a lie. I know, and I hate myself for it. Every single day. His eyes glistened. I called everywhere. The bookstore said you never came back. Your old apartment was empty. It was like you vanished. I had to vanish, she said, her voice breaking despite her best efforts. I had nothing. No money, no home, no one. I slept in a homeless shelter for 2 weeks until I found work at a diner. He closed his eyes like she'd struck him. God, Emma. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't give me back those nights I cried myself to sleep, wondering how I'd feed my baby. Sorry doesn't erase being so scared and alone I thought about. She stopped herself, unable to finish that dark confession. Our baby, he whispered. Did you? Is there a child? She stared at him for a long moment, then made her decision. Sign the partnership agreement, Mr. Richardson. That's the only relationship we need. She walked out, leaving him standing there, and she didn't look back. She couldn't. Because if she did, she might crumble, and Emma Hart didn't crumble anymore. The partnership deal closed a month later. Emma had successfully avoided any personal contact with Marcus, keeping everything professional through their teams. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. The annual Tech Innovation Gala was the event of the season, and as VP of one of the most successful companies, Emma couldn't skip it. She wore a stunning midnight blue gown that hugged her curves, her hair swept up elegantly, looking every inch the successful businesswoman she'd become. She was networking near the bar when she heard a small voice. Mama! Emma's heart stopped. She spun around to see Lily, who was supposed to be at home with the babysitter, running through the crowd in her pajamas, her nanny chasing after her apologetically. Lily, what are you doing here? Mrs. Chun said I could surprise you. Lily wrapped her arms around Emma's legs. You look like a princess. Emma lifted her daughter, kissing her curly head. You little troublemaker. But when she looked up, she saw him. Marcus stood frozen 10 feet away, champagne glass forgotten in his hand, staring at Lily like he was seeing a ghost. Because Lily had his eyes. Those same steel-gray eyes that could be cold as winter or warm as summer sun. There was no denying it. He walked forward slowly, like a man in a dream. Emma? She held Lily tighter. Marcus. She's. He couldn't finish the sentence. Lily, fearless as always, looked at the handsome stranger with curiosity. Who are you? Marcus's eyes filled with tears. Lily, sweetheart, Emma said softly, this is Mr. Richardson. He's a business associate. The light in Marcus's eyes dimmed at that word, but he extended a shaky hand to the little girl. It's very nice to meet you, Lily. You're very beautiful. Thank you. I'm 2.5. She held up 3 fingers, making both adults smile despite the tension. Emma's nanny approached apologetically. I'm so sorry, Miss Hart. She insisted. It's okay, Marina. Thank you for bringing her. Emma kissed Lily's forehead. But it's way past someone's bedtime. New mama, please? Lily, Emma said in her mom voice. Lily pouted but hugged her mother tight. Love you, mama. Love you too, baby. More than the whole world. As Marina took Lily away, Emma turned to leave, but Marcus's hand caught her wrist gently. Don't, he whispered. Please don't walk away again. Not now. What do you want from me, Marcus? I want to know my daughter. His voice broke. I want to be her father. He swallowed hard. I want a chance to fix what I broke. You can't fix it. Emma's composure finally cracked. You can't get back the nights I walked the floor with her, alone, singing her to sleep while I wondered if I could pay rent. You can't get back her first steps, her first word, which was, Mama, by the way, because there was no one else. You can't get back. I know. He stepped closer. I know I can't get any of that back. But Emma, I can be here for her future. And yours. If you'll let me. Why should I? Why should I let you anywhere near her when you threw us away like garbage? Because I was a fool. Because I let my mother's poison infect everything good in my life. Because I loved you, love you, and I was too proud and too stupid to fight for what mattered. He took her hands. I've spent 2 years in hell, Emma. Every day knowing I failed you when you needed me most. Please, give me a chance to be the man I should have been. Emma wanted to stay strong, to push him away, but something in his eyes, genuine remorse, desperate love, made her pause. One chance, she whispered. One. You messed this up, you hurt her in any way, and you'll never see either of us again. Understood? Understood. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. Thank you, Emma. The next 3 months were a careful dance. Marcus didn't push, he earned his way back inch by inch. He started with supervised visits, bringing Lily books and toys, sitting on Emma's living room floor building blocks with his daughter while Emma watched like a hawk. Slowly, Emma saw the man she'd fallen in love with re-emerge, the gentle giant who made silly voices for Lily's stuffed animals, who learned to braid her hair, badly, but the effort counted, who read bedtime stories with different character voices until Lily giggled herself to sleep. He also showed Emma the evidence he'd gathered against his mother, the fabricated documents, the lies. He'd cut his mother out of his life completely, choosing his daughter over family money and social standing. One evening, after Lily had fallen asleep during a Disney movie, Marcus helped Emma carry her to bed. As they stood in the doorway watching their daughter sleep, Emma felt her walls finally crumbling. She's perfect, Marcus whispered. She is, Emma agreed. Despite everything, she's happy. Loved. He turned to her. Because of you. You gave her everything when I gave her nothing. Emma, you're the strongest person I've ever met. She looked up at him, seeing not the cold executive who'd thrown her out, but the vulnerable man who'd spent 2 years trying to find his way back. I was so angry, she confessed. So hurt. Part of me wanted you to suffer the way I suffered. I did suffer, he said softly. Every day without you too was agony. Marcus. She hesitated, then took his hand. I don't know if I can go back to who I was. That girl who depended on you for everything, she's gone. I don't want her back, he said firmly. I want this Emma. The CO, the warrior, the incredible mother. I want to be your partner, your equal. Not your provider or your superior. She searched his eyes for any hint of deception and found only truth. It won't be easy, she warned. Nothing worth having ever is. She smiled, and for the first time in years, it reached her eyes. Then maybe we can try. He cupped her face gently, his thumb wiping away a tear she didn't realize had fallen. I promise I'll spend every day proving I deserve this second chance. When he kissed her, it felt like coming home, but to a new home, one built on truth and equality and hard-won trust. The grand ballroom was decorated in white and gold, filled with friends, family, and business associates. But this time, there were no lies, no pretenses. Emma stood at the altar in a simple but elegant ivory gown, watching Marcus play with Lily in the front row. Their daughter wore a flower girl dress and kept trying to throw petals at everyone, making the guests laugh. Victoria stood beside her as matron of honor. You sure about this? She whispered with a smile. I've never been more sure of anything, Emma replied. Because this time, she wasn't a girl trying to fit into someone else's world. She was a woman who'd built her own empire, who knew her worth, who was choosing partnership from a place of strength, not need. When Marcus stood at the altar and took her hands, his eyes held everything: love, respect, gratitude, and a promise. I, Marcus, take you, Emma, not as my subordinate or my dependent, but as my equal, my partner, my best friend. You are my strength when I'm weak, my conscience when I stray, and the love of my life. I promise to spend every day earning your trust, supporting your dreams, and being the father our daughter deserves. Emma's vows came from her heart. I, Emma, take you, Marcus, with eyes wide open and a heart healed. You've proven that people can change, that forgiveness is possible, and that love, real love, is worth fighting for. I choose you today, tomorrow, and always. As they sealed their vows with a kiss, Lily shouted, "Hey, now we're a family." And they were. Not the family that social climbing or money had tried to create, but one forged through trials, built on truth, and cemented with genuine love. If this story found you outside Soul Stories, welcome home. Comment below, what story do you want to hear next? Remember, fam, your worth isn't determined by who values you, it's determined by how you value yourself. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find out you had the strength to build anything all along. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Until next time, keep believing in yourself, and never let anyone dim your light. Sparkles.